Alright, so I'm gonna make this video kind of recapping the California International Marathon happened a couple weeks ago, 2019. I ran 2 hours, 17 minutes, and 27 seconds. My goal was to go under 219. This was my first road marathon. The goal was to run under 219 to qualify for the US Olympic trials in 2020. So I accomplished the goal. The whole reason I kind of did it, I run for a running company here in Las Vegas, part of the race team. The running company is Red Rock Running Company, and one of the owners, Mark Jimenez, kind of came to me with the idea. He said, like, how come you haven't run a road marathon? He asked me, how come you don't have a coach? And I was like, I'm not sure. And he's like, let's do it. You know what I mean? He's like, I want to help you get a coach, and we can document it and show everybody, mostly here in Las Vegas, what it takes to try to get that goal. And he was like, I think you could do it, and this and that. And I was like, yeah, why not? Let's do it. So I'm gonna kind of make this video recapping everything. Usually I was kind of doing everything on Instagram and writing posts and blogs and stuff about it, but I figure it's easier just to do a video recap. It'd be faster. So I have run a marathon before, but I've run trail marathons and even a couple trail 50Ks. I also have run a lot of road halves, and obviously 5Ks and 10Ks and stuff. And normally I don't have a coach. Usually I just pick races and run races. And even though I've done pretty well in them, I've run some pretty fast half marathon times and done well in these smaller races. I've kind of stayed away from the road marathon just because it's so training specific, and if I did it, I wanted to do it right. So when Mark came to me with this idea, I was like, this is an opportunity to go ahead and do it right. I was already fit, and so that's kind of what happened. And I'll kind of go over. I was thinking about what I had done this year before agreeing to do this marathon, and I'm just going to go over a quick recap just so everyone knows what I usually do. This is like a normal year. I do all kinds of stuff, trail running and 10Ks, 5Ks, and all that stuff. I won't go over everything because there's a lot, but I'll hit some of the key ones just to give people an idea of what I usually do, since I haven't done a road marathon before. So this year in January, I ran the San Diego Trail Marathon. I won the race, 2 hours and 42 minutes. And for those that don't know, trail running and road running is a lot different. The course could be fast for a trail, or extremely hard and extremely slow. So I won the race, 2 hours and 42 minutes, and I set the course record there. I think in March, it was around March, I ran another trail marathon called Blood, Sweat, and Beers. That was here in Las Vegas, and I won that race in 3 hours and 17 minutes. So that shows you the difference. I won one in January, a trail marathon in 2:42, and I won another trail marathon in 3 hours and 17 in March. So that's a big difference in time. So that shows you a really difficult trail marathon could be wildly variant from a really fast trail marathon. I also ran the Rebel Half Marathon, Mount Charleston here in Las Vegas. I ran 104. I won that one. Now that is a downhill marathon, half marathon, so it's extremely fast. So I mean, you take the 104 with a grain of salt. I mean, some people don't like those downhill courses and say, why do people do it and blah blah blah. But like I said, I do all kinds of races. That one's in Las Vegas. That's where I live. So that's mainly the reason. This is the second year I've done that one. But regardless if it was uphill, downhill, or whatever, I won the race. I ran 104. I was happy to run 104 regardless if it's downhill or not. And like I said, after running 2 trail marathons, to mix it up on the road and go run a fast half, that's kind of the stuff I like to do usually. I also had the opportunity to run in the Carbon X event, the Hoka One One Carbon X event, where we had a team of 10 people, and we were trying to break the 100K world record. Each of us ran 10K, and also they had individuals trying to break the individual 100K world record, and that was cool just to get the opportunity for that. And also Mark from Red Rock Running Company got me the opportunity to do that, so that was a cool thing. I also did the Reno Tahoe Odyssey. It's like a team relay race, kind of like a Ragnar Ragnar type race where you get 12 people. You start in Reno, you run down to Lake Tahoe, run around the lake, and run back up. My team that I was a part of with some of my friends here in Las Vegas and Reno, we won that and we broke the course record this year. But that was probably my favorite race of the year, if I had to be completely honest. This is my third year running that race, and the first 2 years we lost. We got second, lost in second, but we beat the team that beat us both past 2 years, and we broke their course record, so that was really cool. It's also just an insanely hard race around Lake Tahoe. So the next race I did, I ran a 50K, also in Lake Tahoe, the Big Chief trail race, 50K. So 50K, if people don't know, that's a little bit further than a marathon. Marathon is 26.2 miles, 50K is like 31 miles. So another 5 miles further than a marathon. Also, this was up at elevation, around 7,000 feet, give or take, up at Lake Tahoe, up on the trails. Real rocky, real technical. I won that race. I set the course record, 3 hours and 46 minutes. So, like I said, I did other races in between there, but those are kind of the big key races. But up to that point, that's around the time, 3.5 months out from CIM, that Mark came to me with the idea to run the marathon. So I had a good base because I had just run that 50K. I was already in shape, but I hadn't done a lot of speed work. So that's kind of when Mark came to me. I did get a coach, Brad Hudson. The reason I got with Brad Hudson is because there's another elite runner here in Las Vegas named Christina, and she's coached by Brad Hudson, so I got with Brad Hudson, and it's all online with Brad Hudson. I believe he lives in Flagstaff or Arizona or something, so, but he knows what he's doing. He's a good coach, and I'm glad I did because it worked out. I ran really, really well. If you would have asked me before this whole thing, if I thought I could go sub 219, I would have said, yeah, maybe. I would have maybe an outside shot, because nothing I've done so far would point that it would be guaranteed that I could do that. I've run some good times, but that's another level that I hadn't reached yet. And to do it on my first try, I was pretty happy with it. So thank you, Brad Hudson. If you do end up seeing this video, thanks. I think you did a great job. So the build up with Brad, I did about 3.5 months. This is the first time I've really done a real training block like that. Obviously it's the first road marathon, but it went really well. I won't go over the sin specifics everything for that, because it's kind of all documented on my Instagram. If you want to go back, you can go look. I posted pretty much all the workouts, but it went really well. I ran a few small races in between there. I ran a 10 mile here in Vegas and a 10K in Spain. But I averaged probably in between 75 and 85 miles mostly. I didn't go over 90. So I know a lot of people that are super into marathons, that are trying to run super elite times, are maybe running more miles than that, maybe like 100 miles plus. I didn't do that. I kind of just followed what Brad gave me, and maybe that was dependent on how much I had run before. I told him I usually only run between like 50 and 60 miles, but for this I ran in between 75 and 85, I'd say, on average. So like I said, the build up went really well. I think I turned a big corner about a month out. A couple of the big workouts I hit really well, and I was super surprised at some of the stuff I was doing. And like I said, that's all on my Instagram if you want to go back and look some of the key workouts I was hitting. But I'd say I turned a big corner, and it gave me a lot of confidence going into CIM. So going into CIM, I had a lot of confidence, and like I said from the beginning, I would say I definitely wasn't confident. I was going to give it my best shot, but I didn't think. I thought there was probably less than a 50% chance that I could even do it. So after the training block, if you asked me, and Mark did, I did a video interview, and it's on Red Rock Running Company's YouTube. He asked me a week out what I thought my chances were and how I felt going into it. And I told him, I'm confident, not only that I could get 219, but I think I'm going to be under 219, maybe by a minute or two. You can go back and watch that if you want, but that's ended up being what happened. So when you go in confident like that because of the work I had done, it helps a lot. You know, confidence it means a lot, and that's probably one of my bigger strengths, I think, with racing, is on race day, I'm pretty confident that I'll get out of myself whatever I'm capable of, and that's dependent on your training and stuff. You know what I mean? But because I had such a good training block, I went in with confidence, and I have confidence just racing. I've raced a lot, different type of races. So usually, what my weakness is in preparation, I usually don't prep that well, but I race well. That's my kind of thing. I prepped so well, it made my weakness kind of my strength for this race. And I already felt confident in just racing. So you match the two together, and that's why I think it went so well. So now we'll kind of get into the actual race. Race morning, I woke up around 3:45. Race was at 7 a.m. Woke up about 3:45, ate some oatmeal with bananas and blueberries, and drank some coffee and water. Pretty simple. I did get into the elite field, so I had water bottles out on the course. Every about 5K, they let us have water bottles, and I put the powder goo Roctane in my water bottles. Not heavy, real light, probably 50% less than what they say you should probably put in there. So it was pretty light. But I was also carrying goo Roctane. I had 5 of them in my shorts. I had some Nike race shorts, and they have 4 slits, and 2 in the front and 2 in the back. So I put 2 in the back, and then 2 in the front, and then I had 1 with 3 with an extra one. So I had 5 total. And I was planning on taking 1 every 5 miles essentially. That's kind of what I did. Also took 1 goo about 15 minutes before the race started. So race morning, I guess I'll go over the race plan that I had with my coach, with Brad Hudson. What we talked about basically was the goal is to get into the Olympic trials. So that's running 2 hours and 19 minutes or faster. And if you break that down per mile, I needed to run 5 minutes and 18 seconds per mile. So the plan was just run 5 minutes and 18 seconds per mile for the first 18 miles. Just stick on that pace. And at this race, the California International Marathon, it's a big, huge race. A lot of people are trying to qualify, just like I was. So there was going to be a couple pacers running that exact pace, and then there's going to be a huge groups of people. And if you don't know anything about running, running with people helps out. Having people in front of you to break the wind helps out. Running by yourself is a lot harder, so if I just stuck with the pack, it was going to be easier. So that was the plan. Brad didn't really want me to run any faster, and then if I made it to 18 miles on pace, 5 minute and 18 seconds per mile pace, at 18 miles, then he said go ahead and start to speed up if you have anything left, and give yourself a cushion towards the end. But that's kind of was the game plan going in. So that'll get us to the actual race. For a warm-up, I just warmed up for about 10 minutes easy, nothing crazy, nothing hard. 10 minutes, I did some stretching, did a little bit of drills, and then went ahead and got to the start line. The weather was good. I think it was like 50 something, low 50s. There was humidity. There wasn't much rain. It was a little windy, but not that bad. CIM as a course, it's a very fast course. It's a net downhill course, but a lot of it's rolling. It's going up and down almost the whole time until like the last 10K, then it's just completely flat. So it is a fast course, but it's not like you're just going downhill the whole time. The rolling hills the whole time will get you if you're not prepared for them. So go ahead and start off the race. One pack, about 10 runners, goes off right from the beginning, takes off. Looks like they're going like sub 5 minute per mile pace. So I didn't even try to go with them. I stuck with the group behind them. First mile goes, and I have the splits here. I ran 5:11 for the first mile. So what ended up happening is that is a little bit faster than planned. What happened was I went with the group, the second group essentially. Like I said, that first group went away, and I figured, okay, I'm not going to go with them. I'm going to stick with this group, which I thought at the time was going to be the 5:18 group. I looked down at my watch, and there was a group of probably like 20 of us, it seemed like. So the first mile goes by just real quick, and I look down, 5:11 clicks by. And like I said, it was fast, but I felt super comfortable. I didn't feel like we were pushing it too much, and I noticed we did kind of slow down as soon as that mile clicked by. So I didn't really worry about it too much, even though it was fast. I felt okay. So I stayed right where I was, and I stayed with that pack for basically the whole race until the race kind of broke apart. So I'll go over the first 5 mile splits when I stuck with that pack. So the first mile was 5:11, second mile was 5:18, third mile was 5:08, fourth mile was 5:14, fifth mile was 5:09. So a lot of those miles are too fast according to the plan. But like I said, I was with that pack, felt really good. Like I said before the race, I kind of felt like I had some fitness to play with, I guess is a good way to put it. I felt like I was capable of running 2:19 or a little bit faster. And it reflected during the race. Those first 5 miles, I felt like I was holding back. I felt like I was going easy. So the first elite water station, they have them set up on tables, and there's a lot of water bottles there. The first one, I couldn't find my water bottle. I didn't want to slow down and stop, so I just ran by. So that was a bit worrisome. I'd say that's a mistake I did make. I just missed it. I was looking, I just didn't see it, and I didn't want to stop. So the first water bottle I missed, not a big deal. I picked up a cup and drank some water, and I took a goo at 5 miles. I wasn't really worried. It was right in the beginning. That's 5K, 3 miles in. So I didn't worry too much. I said, you know what, I just got to focus, make sure I get the next one, and subsequent ones will be more important. So nothing exciting happening. I'm with that group. We had separated. I didn't look back and see, but after the fact, I did see some videos that people posted. There was a huge group that we separated from behind us that were sticking on the 5 minute and 18 seconds per mile pace. And it was huge, hundreds of people, which is insane. Hundreds of people running 5:18 pace for multiple miles. But we had separated from that group. So I was in a group that was in the middle of the lead pack, running 5 minute miles or 5 minute flat miles. And the group behind us that we were putting distance on every mile, that was actually trying to hit exactly 2:19. So like I said, I'll go over the next 5 miles. Mile 6 was 5:10. Mile 7, 5:16, mile 8, 5:17, mile 9, 5:18, and mile 10, 5:11. So that 5 miles still too fast, but 3 of the 5 in there were kind of right on pace, 5:17, 5:18. So we did back it off a little bit, but like I said, I still felt really comfortable. At 10K, which was 6 miles, I did find my bottle. I saw it, and the way the tables are set up, the bottles are in order according to the elite numbers. The same at every table. So I knew once I found it, the second time I saw what it was, I grabbed it, I drank. I wasn't worried because I knew the rest of the time exactly where my bottle was. And it was in that spot every single 5K after that. I got my bottle. And I wouldn't drink too much. I'd carry it for like 30 seconds to a minute, drink as much as I felt I needed. Even though I wasn't thirsty, I had learned a lot from those trail marathons and trail 50Ks. You have to drink even if you're not thirsty. So I did drink. Those did have Roctane powder in them, not too much. Like I said, I just wanted to have a little bit in there since I was taking the Roctane gels as well. At 10 miles, I took another Roctane gel. And even sometimes I would pick up some cups. Even if they weren't the elite cups, there were still people holding out cups, and I would take some from the actual regular aid stations. Also, the group that I had, it was really cool. I hadn't experienced this yet in a big competitive road marathon like this, obviously. Some of the people that were in my group didn't have the elite bottles, so the people that did were passing around their aid, their water with some Noon or Roctane or whatever if anyone else needed it that didn't have the bottles. Some people were sharing the bottles and stuff like that, and having that group was really cool. So those first 10 miles, people were talking, people, you know what I mean, being encouraging to everyone else, saying, nice job guys, you know, right on pace and this and that, we're doing good. So that was really cool. Having other people there helps a lot. It really makes a difference. So that was cool. The first 10 miles, you could tell no one was racing. Everyone in my pack, no one was racing. We were all working together. And I thought that was pretty interesting. You could tell everyone was relaxed. Nothing crazy going on. So we're doing good. I know we're banking some time, and I'm still feeling really great at 10 miles. I'll go to the next 5 miles. So mile 11, 5:07, mile 12, 5:11, mile 13, 5:14, mile 14, 5:11, and mile 15, 5:13. So still a little bit fast, but that's not too bad. We were sitting in between, 5:07 and 5:14, 5:11, 5:11. So those are good splits. I was like, this is great. But in between that mile 11 to 15, I could tell the pack was starting to, some people were starting to strain a little bit. In that 5 mile window, we also went through the halfway mark. I think we went through in 1:08:30, which is like a minute. Let me see, 1:08:30. So that's like 1:17, I think, flat pace if you run that same split for the second half. So we were 2 minutes under pace so far, which was fast, but I still felt really good, and I was confident in the fact that I was still feeling really good at halfway, and that we were under pace. So I was like, you know what, this is just like I was thinking. I'm super fit. I feel good still, and I have a cushion. So I still felt like I could open up. I still felt like I was holding back. And like I said, you could tell people were starting to strain between mile and 10 to 15. It wasn't super easy. People were talking less. People were joking around less. People were more focused. They were still rolling hills. They start to add up after 15 miles. And we're probably averaging like 5:12 pace, 5:13 pace. Probably like 5:12 pace, 5:11 even, for that first 15 miles. So we were looking good. In the next 5 miles is when the race really started. So I'll go over the next 5 miles. Mile 16 we ran 5:08, mile 17 we ran 5:06, and mile 18 we ran 5:08. So if you notice, that's a lot faster. Even at miles 16, 17, and 18, that's when the fatigue really got, that's when mostly, like I said, even the 10 to 15 you could tell people were not necessarily falling apart, but people were starting to focus more, people were talking less. So that's kind of a turning point. The reason the pace dropped so much is one of the guys in the front of the pack took off. He made a significant pace change and kept it. And I was one of the ones that kind of went with him. And I would say if I can admit to making one mistake, that was a mistake I made. Maybe I shouldn't have dropped that 5:08, 5:06, 5:08. I should have stayed with the pack and continued to run 5:11, 5:12, 5:13, 5:14. Because later on, as I'll show you, I did slow down a bit. But I felt good when he made the move. And I said, you know what, we're almost at 30K. And that was the plan, to stay comfortable until 30K. We're almost at 30K. So I said, you know what, I feel great. I have a cushion already. Let's go for it. You know what I mean? And maybe I could break 217 and run 216. That was kind of what was going through my head. I just was confident. Then mile 19, 5:12, mile 20, 5:11. So I realized at mile 19 and 20, I still got a long way to go. This guy continued to drop the pace even further. The one guy that was really pushing the pace, and that's what broke our pack apart. I didn't look back, but I couldn't hear anybody anymore. So I know it was stretching people out. I think the pack went from a group, and then he pulled away, I pulled away from people, and people, you know what I mean? It just became a line, I'm pretty sure is what happened. And it splintered the pack. That's what they usually say. So I kind of backed off around mile 19, 20. I ran 5:12, 5:11. That's what I should have been doing the whole time. I shouldn't have went down to those, even 4 seconds per mile. When your body's starting to get fatigued, you'll pay later on. And I think I eventually did paying the price. So now I'll jump to the next. I'm by myself at this point as well. I could see people, that guy far ahead, but he's stretching. Mile 21, 5:10. Mile 22, 5:18. Mile 23, 5:19. So I was fine at 5:10, but then I dropped to 5:18, 5:19, and 5:18 for mile 24. So there's only 2 miles left now, but now I'm really hurting. I know now that I'm not going to be running any faster than I'm running now. If anything, I'm going to slow down. There's no more. I'm fighting just to stay at 5:18, 5:19, 5:18. But there's only 2 miles left, and I know I have a big cushion. I know I probably have a couple minutes up to play with. So at this point, someone catches me from behind, and we start running together. Me and this guy. His name is actually Dylan Marks. Obviously you get to meet these people and he's actually from San Diego, and that's also where I grew up, in San Diego. I didn't know that at the time, but he helped me a lot. We ran together. We were talking to each other. saying only 5K left, only 8K left, because we were both hurting. I knew we were both hurting. But those 3 miles we stayed 5:18, 5:19, 5:18, which was fine. Also, I realized people were yelling at us, "You're 9th and 10th." At no point in the race did I realize what place I was in. I had no clue until that point. So with 2 miles left, I knew I was in 9th and 10th place with Dylan. So that was, at that point, my mind switched from qualifying, getting that 219. I knew I was going to get the 219, under 219, to, oh, I can get 10th place. Top 10 get money. So I was like, I just got to hold on for 10th. So it became just holding on for dear life. Mile 25 and 26, Dylan starts to pull away, not by too much, but he is starting to gap me. We pass one guy, but a guy comes and flies past us and passes both of us. So even though we got passed, we passed one guy. So our positions were still 9th and 10th. So mile 25, 26, I ran 5:31 and 5:30. And then the .2, I ran 5:48 pace. So I slowed down those last 2 miles. Now I was under pace those last 2 miles, but I was just holding on for dear life. The wheels didn't completely fall off, but maybe if you think about it in terms of, that's what they say, you know, the wheels came off. That's when you fall apart. My wheels didn't come off per se, but the bolts that were holding the wheels on were starting to come off. So, like I said, I paid for that little surge at mile 17 and 18, I think, was the real thing. So then that's it. I did hold on to 10th, and I ended up running 2:17.27. And that's kind of the breakdown of what happened. I was really happy with it. Like I said, it wasn't perfect. I did make a few mistakes. I missed my first water bottle. I followed that guy when he made that surge before 30K around mile 16, 17. Maybe I shouldn't have. I should have been a little bit smarter with that. Maybe I would have ran 5:18, 5:18 on those last 2 miles instead of 5:30, 5:30, which would have saved a lot of time. Once you go over that red line, there's no coming back. You're not going to come back and run faster. Now all you can do is hold on. And that's basically what I was doing those last few miles. So, but for my first road marathon, I was very happy with it. Alright, so I have some questions. When I posted on Instagram that I'll be doing this video, on Facebook, I said if anyone has any questions, I'll answer them. So there's a few questions, that won't be too much here, that people had asked that I'll answer about the race and training and all that stuff. One of the first questions was, how do you decide who is leading in the pack, and who's going to break the wind and all that stuff? In this race, no one decided. Like I said, we didn't stick with the pack that had the pacers and stuff. So it kind of felt like whoever was strongest kind of was in the front. Whoever felt like leading led. If they wanted to slow down, they could have slowed down and someone else would have just went to the front. So I think in this case, from what I saw, whoever wanted to be there was the ones that were there. Some people like front running in races and leading. Some people don't. So that's from what I saw anyway. Another question was, did you do your training alone? It seemed like you did most of your training alone. I did most of my training for this alone. And you can see most of that on Instagram. Like I said, I posted all that stuff on Instagram, most of my workouts and stuff. Mostly because I was doing some really hard workouts. And everyone has their own races scheduled. Everyone has their own plans. Everyone has their own job to deal with, their schedule. Some people have kids, wife, husband. So it's hard when you're an adult to get training partners to come do the exact same thing. Some people have training partners that they train with every day. I don't. Sometimes I do train with my friends and teammates that I have here in Las Vegas, but most of the time it'll be me helping them, or a lot of easy runs. Some of the stuff I was doing was really hard, so yeah, most of what I did was by myself for this marathon. Another one was, how do you push yourself and deal with the fear of setting goals? That one is I would say that's like person to person. For me, I usually don't set goals specific goals like this. This was kind of an exception. That's kind of why I went over my race schedule for the year that I did with you guys. I just like jumping in races. This race seems cool, let me go jump in it. I'm always training year round, and I just try to get better and enjoy it. So that leads to me not really being stressed out about races because I just do a lot of races. I just try to enjoy it. If you're that kind of person that maybe stresses over races and stresses over you think you should be doing better and you're not there yet and you want to set big goals, my advice would be work hard and enjoy what you're doing, because if you don't enjoy it, then that's when you're going to get anxiety and fear and all that stuff. If you enjoy it, the more you enjoy it, the less you're going to be scared. And also work hard. I was confident in this race because I prepped so well. If you prep well, then what are you worried about? You can only do what you prepare yourself to do. Another question was, what strength training, cross training did I do? I didn't do much. And that's probably something I need to work on, continuing forward. It's just hard, having a full-time job and all that stuff. Like I have, you know what I mean? It's enough just to run, in my opinion. And also I like to play video games, and I'm just lazy. So this is already a lot. So strength training and cross training and stuff, that's something I really have to work on. Maybe I get away with it because I'm pretty athletic in general. I've done a lot of other sports, and I think I'm pretty strong naturally and athletic naturally. So maybe I got away with that. I probably always won't. So that's something I do need to work on. Next question was, what was my thoughts on the Nike Next Percent? So I did wear the Nike Next Percent shoes. I know it's real controversial. People say it's almost cheating because the shoes are so good. I don't really agree with that. I think the shoes are amazing. Probably the nicest shoes I've ever worn. They do feel springy. They're real cushioned. They make you feel fast. But in my opinion, it's not a magic pill. It doesn't make you fast. Say you never ran before and you said, I'm not going to train, I'm going to go run a marathon in under 3 hours, but I'm going to buy the magic shoes. The shoes aren't going to make you do it. You have to train. Give the best marathoner in the world regular shoes and give me the Nike Next Percent shoes and put me in there against them, he's going to whoop my butt. Yes, they're a great tool. So you go to the race and everybody's wearing them. They're the best shoe right now. They're the most popular shoe. Literally everybody was wearing them at CIM. With the exception of, it seemed like a few sponsored athletes who are sponsored by companies that weren't Nike. They were wearing obviously whatever they're sponsored by. But it seemed like anyone who had a choice was wearing the Nike Next Percents. So they're obviously good. They obviously work. And I would say they're very nice shoes. But they're not going to make you win a race just on the shoes. You have to train. It's just a tool just like anything else. It's just a really good tool. I don't think it's cheating. This is just my opinion. Another question was heart rate for training and racing. I do have a watch and a band, heart rate band that goes around the chest here, and the GPS watch that also gets your heart rate. And I upload all that stuff onto Strava, which tells me that data, and Garmin. It's a good tool to use. I didn't specifically use it for training. It's something that you can look at, and I did look at it. During the race, I had an average heart rate of like 178 BPM. I got up to like 185, it said. 184, 185. Obviously, at the second half of the race, I was all above 180. The first half, I was all below 180. So as it builds, your heart rate's going to go up. Training, I don't know. During my easy runs, I'm probably like at 140 beats per minute heart rate during easy runs, and a lot of runs are just easy runs. So that's all dependent. I didn't use it all too much. Nutrition during the race, I went over that. Google Octane, water. Have I ever got my stride analyzed? I have not gotten my stride analyzed. I wouldn't be against it. I kind of think your stride is your stride. I haven't run into a lot of injuries, so I think my stride works for my body. So I haven't, but I wouldn't be against it. Another question was, did I know any people in that group that I ran with before the race, and do I keep in touch with them now? I have added a few of them on Instagram. Obviously, we're in pictures together and stuff, and we did get to run together, and it is a really cool experience, and a lot of them are going to Atlanta just like I am. So I do have a lot of them on Instagram now. I didn't know any of them before the race. Hopefully, I will be able to train with some of them. That'd be really cool. Maybe leading up to Atlanta, and I'll follow what they do after this. That's the cool thing for me about Instagram and Facebook and all that stuff, is these people that I meet that have the same, that are doing similar stuff to what I'm doing, now I can follow them and they can follow me, and I'm not gonna run forever, so it's cool to do stuff like this. It's just a big cool experience. I'm glad I did it. Will I do more? Obviously I'm doing the trials in Atlanta, so that'll be in about a month and a half, and I'll continue to post and all that stuff going into that. So thank you guys.